Hey folks, before we can get started, in the back by the computer is the sign-in. If you are a voting member, you need to sign in. Otherwise, we don't have a quorum, we can't count it. But also on the pew where John is sitting, there is the financial, the budget financial there, along with the slip for offering. Please grab those.
Good morning, everyone. If we can get started, please, I would appreciate that. So if everyone could take their seat. Everyone did sign in, correct? We'll have to register that for our quorum vote, so we will do that here in a minute. Good morning, I am Joe Lang. I'm your congregational president. I would like to call the October 2025 meeting to order. I now ask our congregational secretary, Marcia Simanowicz, for verification of a quorum.
Yep. Marcia, as long as we have 23, over 23, we're good.
So 36?
Well, we'll count later, but yeah,
Okay.
we have a quorum.
All right, well, we have a quorum, so that is good. I will now ask Pastor Eric to deliver our invocation.
The nice thing about doing this on a Sunday following worship is it's a very short devotion. So here's our prayer. Let us pray. Almighty God, you have called us to labor in your vineyard, and without you we can do nothing. Grant your gracious presence at this meeting, that what we do will build up your whole church. Let your Holy Spirit govern and direct us, that we may consult together peacefully, pleasing you with all that we say and do. Through Jesus Christ, our Savior and Lord. Amen.
Thank you. All right, I will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of both portions of last January's meeting. So I will need a motion to approve those minutes, please. Is there a second? Is there any discussion about the minutes before we accept those into the register? All right, we will now approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. That motion is carried. I want to thank you, first of all, before we move on to the meat and potatoes here, for allowing me the privilege of being your president for the last couple of years. When I started one of my jobs, my CEO said to me, make a committee about, I was doing an art show, and he said, well, make a committee about the art show. And I was a little gullible, and I said, okay, we'll make a committee. At my first committee meeting, we had a 20-minute discussion about whether or not macrame is art or craft. And I went to him after that meeting, and I said, I'm disbanding the committee. But I will tell you, the committees here at St. Paul's are unbelievable. The people that serve on our committees are rock stars. I could not have done this in the last 2 years without the amazing people on the committees. I don't want to exclude the people that take on special projects either. The volunteerism and the compassion, everyone here is on board at St. Paul. So I thank you for your service. I thank you for being on committees or volunteering for special projects. We could not run this place without you. So I want to thank you for making my last 2 years very, very easy. All right? So thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So we're back to Pastor Young. Any questions for me before we go on? Anything? No? All right. Pastor, it's you.
All right. I gave you a nice big narrative this in January. And I can tell you, if you read through my report, it looks very, very similar because I copied and pasted a lot of it. Because not a whole lot's changed in 9 months, and it wasn't going to if things were going right. So the things that we're still working on is our continued development as part of the faith community in this place. We just want to keep plugging in where we plug in. But full development of our faith formation ministry, and that is going as underway right now. We had youth group for the first time last week, and from what I heard from all the students that were there, they're going, this is every week, right? I'll see you next week. So it's a good start for us, and I'm really looking forward to what this program builds, because through youth ministry, if you look at any church growth stuff, almost all church growth spawns from a good youth and family ministry. So that really is a huge focus for us, and we're going to really continue to build on that. That is a major emphasis. But also, Council is going to really start focusing in on our 1, 3, and 5-year goals. We're going to spend a whole lot of 2026 just dialing in on those things and seeing what wickets we need to hit to make those things happen. Those 1, 3, and 5-year goals came from all of you as part of our cottage meetings 2 years ago. And then council actually put them together to say, how can we meet what this congregation is looking for? So we're looking forward to that. The one thing that is not on this list that I'm going to start doing in the near future, we're going to start building a stewardship committee. And when I say that, I know people are like going, ugh. It's not someone going around knocking on your door saying, give us more money. It really is stewardship, long-term looking at how do we invest in this place so that literally when we're gone, the ministry still carries on vibrantly for years. So that's really what we're going to start working on over the next few years. That's part of my long-term goal in this place, is to get us established in a way that we have a way to have a legacy about us when we're no longer here as part of us. Now, the last thing I have for you is this little cup that's up there. I know you can't read those little lines on it. It doesn't really matter. But the quote right here, it says, you can't fill from an empty cup. This is where I need you all to be very, very, very proactive. I talk about our church, all churches, being a gas station. You don't hang out in the gas station unless you have no life. You go to the gas station to fill up so you can go out and do what you need to do. And that's what we do here as part of worship. We fill our tanks here. We fill our cups here. The purpose to us having full cups is not to have full cups. It is so that we can pour what's in our cup into other people. And that is really the twofold thing I need you to start actively pursuing for yourself. Figure out, how do I come here and fill my cup? What do I need to fill my cup? Is it the prayer time? Is it going and kneeling at the prayer altar over there before worship? Is it singing as part of the choir? Is it baking stuff for Faith Family Friends? Is it being on this committee? Is it mowing the lawn so that way when I drive by going, that's my church and it looks nice? Is it, you're all seeing what I'm saying here. How do I come here and get my cup filled? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. Part of my job here is to pour my cup into other people's cups. That's what your job here is to do, is to help fill other people's cup. Now let me tell you a little bit about God math. If I take my cup, I fill it with water, and I pour some into your cup and some into his cup and some into her cup, is my cup still full? No. I've poured out some of my cup. God math is this. The more we pour out, if we're intentional about filling our cup, it will refill to the point where it's overflowing. That's part of how this works. So really the two things that I really, really, really need you to work on for yourself are the questions is, how do I fill my cup? And how do I fill other people's cup? Because it's only through those things that we will have a really viable ministry in the kingdom of God. That is my report. Any questions for me on my report? Hearing none, I yield.
Thank you, Eric. I'm assuming you all saw the reports in the handouts that we had. So we're going to entertain any questions about the annual reports that are in the handouts that we had this morning. Does anyone have any questions about the ministry team's annual reports? No questions, no discussion? All right, I will now entertain a motion to accept those reports in bulk. Yes, sir.
Allow me to apologize for that, and I'll tell you why this happened the way it did. Because up until September, I'd forgotten that we'd moved it to October. So, and Debbie goes, hey, we're going to put together the annual report. I'm like, nuts. So that's why you got it late this year. You will have it early next year. So my apologies. That's why you didn't have it way ahead of time. Next year, it will be at least a week earlier. So,
Start putting calendar reminders in
yeah,
August.
actually, Debbie will just start smacking me.
Yeah, and kudos to Debbie. Debbie wanted my report on Monday, and I told her I'd have it to her by noon on Monday, and I think she got it Tuesday at 9 p.m. So Debbie was the virtual pit bull for all of us to get our reports in. But yeah, we will get those to you earlier next year. So any other discussion, questions about the annual reports? No? If so moved, I need someone to make a motion, please, to accept them. Thank you. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Wayne?
And Vanessa seconded.
All right, I will now entertain a report from the nominating committee.
There is none, so it's you.
That's me.
Or it can be me, it's up to you.
Not either, we'll split it. We are now opening the floor for nominations. You see we have nominations for council, the Synod Assembly, the Erie Lutheran Conference, and the nominating team as well, please. So if you want to do any of those, I'm going to open the floor right now. Do we have any nominations for council?
Here, let me go get a ballot for you to write on.
Okay. Any nominations for council? Anyone?
Okay, folks, we had one person step down for health reasons, so instead of electing 3 like we normally do, we need four people for council this year if you want to, if you're available, if it's something you're called to. We have the ballots. I think we're out of ballots.
Throw your friends right under the bus, please. Don't be afraid.
Does anyone have a copy of the ballots anywhere? I gotta
Yes,
go
sir.
make more. Did the ballots not make it out?
I'm old and a drummer. I can't hear you. Vanessa, all right. Thank you.
Hey, guys.
One more time. All right. Anyone else? I've got all day. Anyone else? We need 2 more nominations for council, please. It's 1 hour a month. It's not that, the heavy lifting is not all that bad unless you're the president or Gabe. Larry, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Larry.
I can't print out another
Looking at you,
copy.
Larry.
It should be digitally on your phone.
No pressure. We need 2 more. 2 more nominations, please.
I know, that's what I'm working on. I'm printing ballots right now, so
We need 2 more. We have 1, Vanessa, and we need 2 more.
who still needs ballots? Who didn't get a ballot? All right, I'm printing out a bunch more, so here, we'll go ahead and. Do you each have
No,
a
we need
ballot?
2 more. We need 3 altogether.
Okay, okay, I'm printing out a bunch, so.
Do we need to check with Greg? Well, you were not at the Steeler game. You were not at the Steeler game, so I think you have a little special privilege here.
What?
Okay.
We need a total of 4 people. We need a total of 4
Yes.
people, yes.
Yep.
So- Yep,
Are you sure?
yep, yep,
Okay. All right.
okay. Here, yep, there's one for you.
For the assembly, there is.
And just so you know, if you're a confirmed member, you can serve on council. There is no minimum or maximum of youth that can serve. So if we have someone who is 16 who wants to serve on council, they're welcome to if they're a confirmed member. Who else needs a ballot? Show of hands. Okay. Here, go, pass those down and get them around. Who else did anybody get a ballot? All right, so here we go. Here's what I'm gonna do. Start passing them around. Here, Gretchen, ballots, pass them around. These are the real thing. This is what we're collecting. I'm gonna go get more. Give me a minute. Yeah, if you want to take those out, please.
Okay.
Copier.
Yesterday, Pastor, I pulled all pages of 268.
That's excellent. That's a good score.
Yeah,
He's down from last week though, because you had 299 last week.
yeah.
All right, Joe, you announced everyone who's on there again? Well, we actually, we only need two more. I mean, well, it's just so we'll add the three of them in. So,
So give us an odd number.
yeah, that's what we're working on right now. So, yeah, so we'll be cast ballots. We can pick 4 out of those 5.
Okay. All right, so the folks that have been nominated for the council position, Vanessa Barron, Kelly Zimmerman, and Jessica Kidd. Karen McKenna has also said she'll step in if necessary. So those are our 4 people for council. So Vanessa Barron, Kelly Zimmerman, Jessica Kidd, and Karen McKenna. So those are your council write-in. This is for council? Oh, okay. Vanessa. Yep, Vanessa Barron. Kelly Zimmerman. Jessica Kidd. And Karen McKenna. We're staying on council and we're on the ballot, so you need to vote for us too. Well, we're staying on council,
All
if
right,
you let us.
so here you go, folks. You have 6 names to choose from. You only get to choose 4. So you only get to choose 4 of those 6. And it's a great problem to have. So I am grateful that we have so many people willing. And yeah, this is a good thing. So choose 4
Yeah, it
of
says
those.
right
Just-
on your ballot there, it says choose 4. So your 6 names, Joanne and I are already on there. So Vanessa, Kelly, Jessica, and Karen are the write-ins. Yeah, everyone's here.
We'll have them stand. If you are one of the nominees, please stand up so everyone can see who's who. Okay. Starting over here, you have Kelly, you have Jessica, there's Joanne, you have Vanessa, there's Karen, and this is Joe, by the way. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
All right. So hang on to that. We're going to move on to the Synod Assembly representatives. We need 3 positions for this, please. We need 1 male, 1 female, and 1 youth. So I'm opening the floor to nominations for the Synod Assembly.
A youth needs to be a confirmed youth, so they can have a vote.
So how about a male delegate? Yes, sir.
I was gonna nominate my wife for female.
Okay. Is she here?
I just want to put something ready to take college.
Okay, all right, so she's agreeing to that?
She is now.
Is she really with Greg at the Steelers game? Because if so, I mean, you have special powers.
Since you've nominated your wife, you're going to accept it for you too? Okay, they've been our delegates the past 2 years. It's really a good thing, so it's something that I'm sure they'd share if you are like going, I really want to go as a delegate. Put your names out there. They'll tell you all about it. It's worthwhile. So thank you, Rick.
And you said Rick? Yep.
Rick and Mary.
Okay, Rick and Mary. And then we need a youth nomination, please.
He's done it 2 years in a row. Yep.
What if we change your name, Caleb?
All right, so just for the record, if we have no names, it then, according to our Constitution, reverts to council to select, nominate, and elect the person on behalf. So you can kick this can to council if you want. So it's one of those things. And so we don't have to sit here and go, oh, we need somebody. We can find somebody. So.
All right, so we'll move that later. Oh,
I know that we previously only had one, but was this brought up to them so they can contact themselves?
It was not.
Can it be in the future?
Yes.
so we will take the youth delegate to council and we'll find someone to fill that position later, but your 2 nominees today are Rick and Mary Hetrick. Do we have any others who would like to be on the ballot before we move on to the next positions? Nope, okay. All right, next is the Erie Lutheran Conference representatives. Larry and Kevin are on there. They've done it in the past, and they need 2 more on that ballot.
We're only voting for 2.
Oh, we're only voting for 2?
Yep.
Oh, well, Larry and Kevin are on there.
Yeah, but we can get 2 more. We open the floor to nominations from the floor.
Let's see how this goes. That means you have to ride in the car with Larry and Kevin for like 2 hours. I have my own opinion about that, but all right, hearing none, we will.
It feels like 2 hours though.
Thank God you're a doctor. That's all I'm saying. All right, hearing no nominations for that, we will move on. Again, you need to choose 2 for that. And then the nominating team is Kelly and Jessica. Do we have 2 more people that might want to help them out for next year's annual meeting? Anyone else for the nominating team? We need 4. Yes, ma'am. Joanne? And you're nominating yourself? Okay. So your nominees on there are Joanne and Debbie for the,
You can add more names. Folks, all because there aren't blanks doesn't mean we can't add more names.
so again, so let me go over this again. So for Congregational Council, we have the 2 that are listed there along with Vanessa, Kelly, Jessica, and Karen. Does anyone else need me to spell those names again, or are we okay for council? Okay. Our Synod Assembly, Rick and Mary Hetrick are additions to there, and we will choose a youth delegate later at council. Anyone else need more information about that? All right, our nominating team, Kelly and Jessica, are on the ballot. Joanne Erickson and Debbie Corsi have volunteered to be the third and fourth on the ballot. Yep, Larry and Kevin are already there.
All right, so at this point, since circle the names, the one that needs decided, that we will need to weed down is council. So council, you can only circle 4. If you have 5 circled, your ballot's invalidated. If you only have 3 circled, that's fine. So go ahead, and I think you need to circle that. So, sorry, Joe, go ahead.
Nope, that's it. Yep, so once all 4 rolls, we have nominations for that, so go ahead and cast your ballots. We'll give you a minute, and then we will collect them.
So Jessica and I are going to come and make your ballots. Here are the ceremony.
Just those 2 right there.
Oh, okay.
We didn't add any names.
And then this is Joanne.
Yep. Joe, he's slow.
Listen. Should I vote for myself?
But you're missing 2 names. You're missing Vanessa and
Oh, that's it.
Vanessa and Karen. Yes.
Oh, red shirt. Yeah. I can't hear Marcia, so you have to scream. Years of being in rock bands. Can't hear anything. You know, I just don't know who's going to perform his funeral when I kill him. I just don't, like, who
We'll
gets?
have Pastor Max. You have to listen to him.
No, but never mind. You can listen.
Yeah, we got the left hand.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So we'll have to. Next slide is. We'll have to table this until we have results.
Okay, so let's, we'll get you the ballot results here in just a moment. And we're gonna move on to number 4, the budget. So Bill Gross is our treasurer. I just wanna, again, I wanna give kudos to Bill and Nick and the finance team. What you're gonna hear today involves hours and hours and hours of work. So it was really, it's really been a balancing act, and Bill and Nick have done a great job. So Bill is here with our financial report. Bill?
You should also, did you get a copy of the budget sheet from the back? This is what you'll be referring to.
Thank you. Yeah, so once again, hi, I'm Bill, and I'm your congregational treasurer, congregation council treasurer.
You talk louder.
Is this better? Wait, am I,
Yep, that mic works, it's just you have to talk like it's not there.
do you hear me now? Okay, I'll go with this voice. Yeah, so thank you to, Mike Barber, Nick, Joe Lang, Pastor Eric, Joanne Erickson, for helping put in the effort on this. So this is a lot of numbers, and I apologize. I'm an engineer, so I suffer from like eye chart love. But a lot of these numbers, this is a summary of like what you have here. And what I'm going to do is first I'll explain what the chart and the spreadsheet. Then I'll touch on how we're doing year to date in 2025, and then I'll explain our 2026 spending plan, including a couple scenarios that we weighed. So I want you to I'd like for you to understand kind of like what our process was a little bit and how we went through this, because it's not easy. There's a lot to try and sort out. First off, this chart, okay, the second and third columns on this slide, as well as here, say 2025 YTD, which means year-to-date actual, and then 2025 budget. So that should have said 2025 year-to-date budget. So it's comparing the same period of time. It's not the full year. It's just actual numbers through, I believe, we went through August initially. So I think these might still be August numbers because that's when we started this process. Since then, we have some September numbers. But and then the next two columns, you know, over budget and percent of budget, explain how we're doing this year. So, and then the last column, total 2025 budget, is for all 12 months. So, and that column is like, will be used for the three scenarios on the right. So, first off, just start with the first four columns. And if you look here, basically, regular weekly thank offering, I mean, we had a goal. Nick has been very good over the years with like looking at trends and forecasts and being able to help us come up with what we think we'll be able to achieve with regards to offering. And part of that has to do with these commitment cards and as a congregation, everybody's disciplined for their giving. And so, you know, the council and the finance team, thank you for you know, being consistent and being generous. Because while we have many gifts that we can give, you know, our treasurer is one that helps us, you know, with certain things that cost money. Yeah, so giving's been on track this year. So that's good. Our expenses have been a little high, okay? And the primary factors there honestly include some maintenance and some utilities. So we had you know, just a lot of things that added up larger than our normal annual maintenance budget, and also we had some water leaks which we're addressing with some major boiler repair. We're going to be replacing some pipes in the facility to the tune of like $30,000. And fortunately, we have, you know, the money for that. We save. But yeah, so we believe maintenance is going to be more under control for 2026. And as I'll explain in a minute, we believe we took care of the water leak issues. So that will help. So 2025 was good overall, okay? A little heavy on the maintenance, on expense. But if you remember, and if you didn't remember, you can look on the bottom. Our 2025 total budget was a deficit budget, which I was not happy about a year ago going into it, but that was the best we could do. And so we're basically like looking to hit that deficit. Are there any questions on 2025 before I transition into 2026? Yes, please. Okay, that is an excellent question. So the way we do that is we pull together our resources with our three major entities, the congregation, the CDC, and preschool, and we tap into those cash funds. It's kind of like a big loan pot. Like over the years, as different, you know, of those entities have gone up and down, you know, they will each dip into each other's resources and then repay them later over time. Yes?
How do you plan to pay the money over time if you never pass it out as budget?
Oh, because we're reducing our deficit amount year over year, and we're.
But if you keep borrowing out of other people's funds, you can never replace it.
Well, if you reduce your deficit year over year, and if you if we increase our membership rolls and rein in our budget over time, then it becomes positive and you pay it back. There was a period a couple of years ago where we had a positive budget, which we basically turned into building up our contingency. So, say, yes. So consider it as like a pooled financial insurance fund. You know, it's kind of like health insurance. You chip into a large pool, okay, and then over time, different. You may have good years and you're still paying into the pool, and then. Sure.
If you remember 5 years ago, if you look at the budget, when I was looking back through things, CDC was massively in the hole, and the church brought them up. So it really is it's not something, we're not stealing money from CDC or the preschool, and they're not stealing money from us. It really is how do we help each other out when we hit those tough spots and then we get those good spots. So it really is a balancing act. Like you said, it's mutual insurance, because it's all one ministry.
Yes. Yes, ultimately, we're one large financial entity, right?
And I want to add to what Eric said too, is prior to Eric, there was a lot of separation in the budgets with the 3 different entities. We've unified that now, so like Gary said and Bill said, it's all one ministry now. We keep it separate for obvious reasons, but again, when one part needs help, we step in, the other part needs help, we step in, vice versa. If we need help, we expect the other parts to step in as well, because we're all together. Yes,
Yeah.
Deb? Debbie, we have that. We have that. We cover 3 months of payroll with the CDC contingency fund, which I believe is the minimum requirement that we need. So that's in there.
How are you looking into the future? Like, we're gonna need a roof, not too far. That's gonna cost quite a bit of money now. Roof's getting more expensive every year. How are you starting to look into that heavy financial burden at that time? Because you're gonna have a lot of money in the bank.
You want to get that?
Correct, sure. So, there was a capital campaign that we ran, and we built up a contingency. We have actually a plan where we cataloged all of our capitalized assets and their basically lifespan and depreciation and maintenance. And we achieved most of that capital campaign financially. We didn't get to 100%. And we've actually been using that, and the roof still has some life left, okay? But it's not going to last forever. And one trade-off that we did make in the budget that we didn't get to talking about yet is that the capital campaign includes considers a $12,000 contribution every year from the congregational budget. Because we've been running a deficit budget for, I think, like the past 2 years, we have not included that. So our capital campaign has been draining a little more than we would have liked. So that's not good. We have what? Actually, we have enough to cover our boiler issue, okay, but then it's going to be pretty low. We need to build that back up, and so that's something we can. Let's go ahead.
Regarding the roofs, all the roofs were replaced in 2009. All the shingle roofs, all the flat roofs. We also added insulation that we decided
And the guarantee, the reason they give you a 25-year guarantee, because they know it'll last 30. So that way they don't have to pay for it. So we got some time, but yes, we need to start planning. And that's what Bill's saying. We want to start putting money back into our contingency and growing that again. And we're getting to that.
Yeah, and Bob, your questions are very good, and I continue to invite you to join us to help us think through this in any capacity you would like to, because we welcome new ideas and critical thinking on the finance team and elsewhere. It's not easy. We do our best. And I'll tell you, the solution is not perfect, okay? But we looked at what we have and our projections for growth, and we do have a pretty strong congregation with growth, but also our ministries cost money. So I'm going to transition to talking about next year, 2026. There's 3 columns to the right. There's just like 3 columns on the spreadsheet in front of you, and they reflect 3 scenarios. The first scenario is we took in everything that everybody asked for, and then we basically modeled no giving increase, and then how do we come out? If that's 0 or positive, that's great, okay? Well, it came out really negative, like $35,000 negative, almost. And then we start looking at things like, what are the options? What are things we could affect? What are things that we cannot affect? What are the priorities of our congregation? Okay, and the things that I highlighted here are things that we focused on, things that are easier levers, that we could adjust without doing anything major, such as major personnel changes or depleting ministries that are pretty tight. Okay, but starting off with giving, we believe that it's realistic with both a combination of organic growth of our congregational membership, including accounting for people leaving, as well as, people looking at, perhaps, helping out a little bit more each through slightly increased giving that we can increase by 5%, our weekly offering. But something else we looked at is our facility usage, okay? Right now we charge $50 an hour, and when we benchmark that across the Erie area, that's actually a pretty good bargain. It's a really good bargain. So, that's an underutilized opportunity to, actually increase our revenue slightly. I mean, even if you look at other churches, okay, and that's who we benchmarked. So, a major recommendation from the finance team to council is, okay, like let's relook at this. Let's increase this so we can get some more revenue that way. So we believe a safe projection would be, a couple $1,000s more a year from that, and hopefully be more. We'll see. I mean, that feels a little conservative in that estimate. We also we added in a 2% cost of living increase to all of our salaried folks on the payroll. A couple other things we did is we looked at the trend for substitute accompanists, which is basically if Andrew isn't here, who fills in for him? And we've been trending under budget for a while on that, so we adjusted that down slightly. Some other things like worship supplies and materials, we adjusted a little. A major one that we discussed was Director of Youth Ministries. Okay, that's an open position that we have right now. And that's the major difference between scenario 2 and scenario 3. Okay, and so you can see the effects of the differences between scenario 1, 2, and 3 at the very bottom. So even scenario 3 is a deficit, but it's the smallest deficit. Scenario 2 is in the middle. Much lower than we have for 2025, but still it's a deficit. So we have to ask ourselves, we have an open position. With a deficit budget, do we still hire? Do we still try to fill this position? This is youth ministry. How important is having a dedicated person here for that ministry? How does that affect our membership, qualitatively? This is a big debate that council had, because the finance team presents scenarios to council, and council has this debate, because council represents you and us. And council recommended to include this position in the budget for next year. So that's why scenario 2 is the one that council recommended that we vote on today, or recommends. A couple other things, let's see, we adjusted, retreat and outings for youth, that was just a tweak. Okay, let's see, Sunday school supplies, we haven't been using it, so we actually reduced that budget item. Yeah. Let's see, Yep, thank you, Joan. Yep. Okay, next, financial audit. For a while, we didn't have one, but we've been getting financial audits, and they're really good to get, okay? Do we need one every year, or can we do one every other year? So, we pulled it out of the budget for next year, but then we need to bring it back for 2027. And then the last item has to do with utilities. That's with water. We have pretty good confidence that we've addressed the sources of our water leaks. For 2 years in a row, we've had water leaks, and they've been due to different reasons, but we're feeling pretty good about that this year. So that leaves us with the numbers we have. So I stand before you, representing the finance team with these recommendations, and also representing council with recommending scenario 2 for our budget next year. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Okay. Go ahead.
The Erie Community Foundation donations, where does that go? Does that go just into our general giving fund, or is that a separate category? Because it gets matched, correct?
No, there's a percentage match,
Percentage.
which this year came out to be about 2%. So don't let the match think you're going to get rich. It comes out to about 2% after all is said and done. So, and just a little backside for you on that, the Erie Community Foundation does a 2% match for everyone. A lot of people sandbag donations for that, which is something they're looking into. If you look at some of the ones that will have 100,000, 60,000, it screws up the match for everyone and makes it lower. So that's why, but they're looking at that to make the match more equitable next year. But really, at the end of the day, it's about 2%. So just know our number that we get for Erie Gives pretty much is the number that we get even before the match.
So like this year, it says we got $17,223 donated, but that's with matched funds?
No, that's before match.
That's before match. And then my question is, does that go into the general fund?
Yes.
Okay, it's not earmarked for anything particular.
Correct. The foundation, unless you make separate benevolence through the foundation, that money goes into the general fund. You can earmark, but not through Erie Gives. You can earmark a charity, but you cannot determine how the money is used. It just goes to the charity.
Now, they also have an Erie Community Foundation endowment fund interest. So we have funds in there?
Correct. Again, somebody made an endowment through the foundation to the church. We get a percentage of that. Like at the Humane Society where I work, we have an endowment. We get 4% a year from that endowment. You can request special payouts, but it has to be done through council on notes with minutes and things like that. But I would not recommend that because it takes away from the balance, which is earning interest. So that payment from the foundation every year tends to go up because the base amount increases, and we get, I think, about 4% from that. So, and that's an annual payment.
Which of the spending plans are the ones, is the one recommended by council?
Scenario 2.
Yep, on the books is different than who we have showing up. We actually had 2 families leave our congregation in the past 2 years because we didn't have a big enough children's program before we actually got Bridget hired in to be our children's minister. We had another family just leave recently because we didn't have a youth program they've been waiting for. So I would say that on the books, probably about 2 dozen what I consider youth or more. I think it's a conservative estimate. And with the children, I think we're probably up around 3 dozen or so, at least, when it comes to those that are in the programs. Those who actually use it, that's what we're trying to build.
Why would just that amount, say there's 60 entities right there, why would we need 2 directors for 60 people? Even though they're different ages, I understand.
Exactly, because they're different ages. It's different. You can ask any teacher in this place. If you are a high school teacher, are you really looking forward and good at teaching 3rd graders? Or are they little mutants to you? And same goes for elementary school teachers looking at high school teachers. I don't want to have to deal with that. They're different mindsets. Right around 5th grade, they shift from concrete thought to abstract thought. And it's entirely a different way of doing things. And so you need 2 specialists because they are entirely different. It's one. If you get one person that does it all, it is almost a 95% chance of failure at one of those age groups. So.
I will say just from experience, there's also a level of burnout when you're trying to coordinate from kindergarten through high school. I love youth ministry. I'm sad that it's not as strong as we would like to see it. I think it's really, and we have children suffer from that. And I hope nobody goes to scenario 3, just cutting out that extra person. We do need to find ways to build a program where this church will die.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, just a little fact for you. Over 80% of all churches that are growing attribute it to a youth ministry, children's ministry that is thriving, because as soon as you bring in the kids, then the parents go, care for my kids, okay, I'll show up. And so it's a big deal.
First of all, I want to thank everyone who put in the time to come up with the budget. I know it was arduous, and I know that it's always painful when we're operating in a deficit. But my thought process, and what I'd like to challenge all of us to think about, instead of passing another deficit budget, why can't we pass a budget that is balanced? And instead of asking people for more money, let's ask people for more time. Let's directly reach out to folks and put together a team of people to do youth ministry. I know we did that, when we were in periods where we didn't have good leadership and that sort of stuff. And I'd be the first to sign up for that and help bring that ministry back to fruition. But I really think that if we're rinsing and repeating another deficit budget, we're really setting ourselves up for failure. And I don't know how many other people feel about that, but I would love to have seen a balanced budget against our deficit budget up there.
I'll actually be talking about that in my section shortly, about that very thing, what you're saying.
And I also want to add, there are only 2 ways to go here: to cut expenses or to raise more money. They're the only 2 ways you can go with a budget, okay? So we really tried not to cut expenses, except for the youth ministry position. We really looked at everything. One of the problems that we have here is this facility. It's an aging facility. Like Bill said, we just had a $29,000 bill for a boiler system. We can't operate the CDC, we can't operate the preschool, and we can't have services if we don't have heat. Part of the problem that we are facing is an aging facility here. And again, that's taking probably most of the money that we are spending. There isn't any way to cut some of those expenses. So again, if we're gonna look at a balanced budget, and I appreciate that, Debbie, and I would like to have a balanced budget too.
Me too.
We are going to have to cut expenses, which at this point probably means people. So that's the decision that you have to make. We can't lower the electric bill. It is what it is. We can't lower the gas bill. It is what it is. We are good stewards of that. We've put in timers on the lights. We've locked the thermostats so people can't have, I cannot tell you how many times I've come into this facility on the weekend to cut the grass and do a meeting, and one thermostat in the gym is at 68, the other one's on 78. So you have one system blowing cool air, one system blowing hot air. It's a waste of money. We've gone that granular in the budget and trying to control expenses. We've gone to that level where we lock the thermostats now to help control that stuff. So we are trying to control expenses as much as we can. But again, if we're gonna get to a balanced budget, it's probably gonna mean people at this point. That's not a threat. That's not something to scare you. That's just kind of where we are. But I do wanna say this as my last thing about the budget, is we are in a good trend. I think we're presenting a deficit budget less than we did last year. I think we are in a good trend. I do think the youth program is going to be the linchpin for a lot of this. So I would ask you, from my perspective, working on this budget and having been president for the last 2 years, to consider budget number 2 with that youth minister in there. All right?
So, and I'm gonna just go out on a limb and speak a little bit outside of my lane as treasurer, but this votes on a budget. This doesn't vote on approving a position or a hire. So if there's debate to be had, and we believe that there's a lot of possibility of not requiring a hire, there's opportunity for that, even if we allocate money towards this. On the flip side, you could also say, we're not gonna approve this, and if we can't do this without a hire, then we'd have to come back. I don't know, would we have to come back as a congregation
Yeah.
to approve hiring? That's an option. I mean, this is our budget, okay? You know, this doesn't lock in stone whether you go one way or another with a personnel action. What it does is it facilitates, if you include it in a budget, it facilitates acting on that. So, you know, I mean, this is discussion. If we feel strongly about one way or the other, we can take that action. I don't know.
Let me.
Correct. Yeah, like we're not proposing that. Yeah, that's just. Yes.
Correct.
Yes, that's the only difference between the number 2 and number 3.
And the audit too, right? Is the audit?
Well, no,
Oh, it's not
the
number
audit is
2.
out for both scenarios. The only difference between 2 and 3 is youth, minister, hire or not, you know? And, yeah.
You have to speak loudly, though, for everybody.
I hope I can get my thoughts across here, but I'm looking at this banner, grace alone, faith alone, scripture alone. And where we all try to live in a budget, I think there is also, when we live in our own budgets, in our own home, there is a faith component to that as well. And I'm not saying, oh, here we go, just have faith. But there is an important, that's very important. That's, I guess, so what I'm trying to say is I understand and I'll vote for it, but sometimes when you force yourself to go in a position of deficit, wow, that really was an impact, maybe, and that's not how you want to be, but it forces you then to say, hey, wow, I better think about that. Let's look at this differently. I feel like we're not looking at things very differently. We're just kind of a little bit, not more than what is out there to potentially be with faith.
So, for example, sharing youth, gathering youth around.
We'll be talking about this, but the ELC, the Erie Lutheran Conference, all these churches in this area, they are hurting for lots of programs, but there's some that are doing really well in certain programs. So maybe we capitalize with that and not have such a financial burden. So the things that we're looking at, Larry, I, Beth, and this meeting that we're coming to at the end of this month is what are those mutual ministry things that we can do that might save financially for not only our congregation, but others that are suffering out there? So worship opportunities and child and youth, those are the two big areas that I think we're looking at from our church as well as the other churches.
I agree with everything that was just said. I also agree that a budget is just a plan. And that's all it is. You're not making a commitment to doing every single thing that's in the budget. This is a plan of what we want to do. The people on our church council, I'm sure, have spent a lot of time agonizing over this. So if you need a motion at this point,
We don't at this point, but I'm just going to say I would really appreciate you all stop stealing my thunder for what I'm going to talk about next. So,
So we want to like vote after all that?
yeah, it's later. So Bill, let me just take over at this point, do my part, and you'll come back up.
Okay.
So go ahead and go to next slide, next one after that. All right, so some of the things we've been talking about, I'd like to see a show of hands. Who here wants a deficit budget? Show of hands, please. A deficit budget. Show of hands, anybody want a deficit budget? No, we don't. Okay, so we all understand this, right? We are all understanding that nobody here wants a deficit budget. So we need to talk about what do we want? So how do we get there? What are we going to do? So since we're talking about a deficit budget, let's talk about this. Slide, please. Disneyland. You all recognize this, right? That's 1955, Anaheim, California. That is the Princess Castle being built. When Walt Disney was building Disneyland, when they had an opening day set and everything, and they were unable to complete everything on opening day. Matter of fact, a lot of the sidewalks and walkways weren't done, but they opened the gates anyway. The asphalt was still so freshly laid that people who had sharp shoes sank into it. It was just that new and that, but they get out there and they start going, and people start going to all these different places on the map, and there aren't a whole lot of sidewalks. So how do you get there? Well, you walk across the grass. And they were going to pour sidewalks, and Disney said, stop, leave it for a while. And he started looking. And he started paying attention to where people walked. And there were like dirt paths they had worn into different spots. You know what he did with that? Put sidewalks there. People were voting with their feet. They were figuring out, what do we need to do to get to where we want to be? And they were voting that way just by going that way. And, well, we had a sidewalk planned for right here. He goes, yeah, but nobody walked there, so don't put a sidewalk there. This is part of what we are doing with this budget. We are voting with our feet. So let's get to the next slide, please. And hit the button for me again. Okay, nice little image for you. We all understand budgets. We all have them at home in some form or fashion, right? So when it comes time to doing something with your family and, you know, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, we need to, I want to play soccer this year. Okay, I'll put that into the budget because that's going to cost for the cleats, for this. Okay, now I want to do ballet this year. Okay, what about your cleats? You can't dance. So you spent that money and you're doing these things, and you look at your budget and you're suddenly going, I don't know how to make these ends meet. I'm really struggling here because Johnny needs orthodontics, but sorry, can't give that to you. Have to do something else instead. There are things that we want and things that we need, and we have to be very careful in looking at our budget on what do we want, what do we need. You all know for a fact that we can't keep going on a deficit budget year after year after year. It is one of those things that it'll drain us and we won't have any backup money. And we'll only have one choice to make, and it's on a sidewalk that's already laid for us with fences on either side. So what do? How do we get to where we need to go using our budgeting ideas? Well, part of that is, like Joe said, cutting expenses. So for a household budget, you're looking at going, no, Johnny, you're not getting braces. I can't afford that. Maybe instead, you stop doom scrolling Amazon in the middle of the night and hitting buy now. Maybe that'll add up. You can do things that will offset that. But the other side of that is maybe I take an extra shift. Take an extra shift next week, and that will give us a little extra here, a little extra here. So there are options that we do. Next slide. Talking about our mission, and just leave it to where it's at. So you all know, from last year to this year, your envelope offering went up 6.9%. We had that increase in this place. You all responded. You voted with your feet. And you said, hey, I like the ministry I'm doing here. And if we keep on this track, our budget that we currently have staged, the difference between number 1 and number 2, is literally, for the main part, a 5% increase in your offering. That's all that we're saying, increase another 5%. What that means is you give $100 a month. Well, I'm going to start giving $105. Now, some people are going, Pastor, I'm on a fixed income. I can't do that. That's great. Your offering is between you and God. I say that every year. It really is for you and God to figure out together what feels right. What is the right thing to do according to your faith? So other people will go, 5%. I can do more than $5 a month out of that 100. I'm going to give 20 because I can do that. I got a raise at work. This is good. So I'm going to give a 20% increase. Now, next slide takes us to this. You want to be deficit free on scenario number 3? You give $100 a month, give $111. Our deficit will literally be, I think it was $189. Folks, I'll personally make up for that one. The $189. I'll figure out where that comes from. That's what it takes. We get to vote. And what we're doing is we're trying to figure out where we want to go and how we want to get there. Vanessa was right. This is our plan. And our plan is, if we just do a 5% budget increase where people are given 5% more, we're going to end up with a $13,000 deficit, which, by the way, give us about another 10 years of church money. That doesn't include CDC or preschool money. At that amount, it's like 7 to 10 years if we don't increase anything. That kind of deficit will get us that long before we have panic mode. But if we go up 10%, 11%, folks, we don't have a deficit, and we're fully funding everything that we do. Now, the other thing is that Vanessa said that I really appreciate is the fact that this is our plan. Folks, that's the maximum we want to spend on these things. We do not want to spend $12,000 on plumbing this year or whatever. It'd be great to spend $8,000 or less. We budget to say what's the maximum we'll spend. So hopefully we'll get under budget next year because we could really use that. But it also depends on what we are doing. So I'm going to encourage you, next slide, to think about what sidewalks are we putting in for next year. This is where we get to decide where we're walking. This time next year, we will either have a balanced budget or we'll have a balanced budget. We'll have to figure out if we're doing it through increased giving or if we're going to cut back on staff somewhere, because that really is the only thing we can cut back on. And I don't think anybody here is going, yeah, let's cut back on staff. Who needs Andrew anyway? Well, I do. Who needs Debbie anyway? I do. Yeah, right? So we can go through these people. We can say all the reasons we have these people where they are. We know the ministry we want to do. We get to vote with our feet. So that is my encouragement to you this year is I don't want a deficit budget next year at all. But how are we going to get to a balanced budget next year? That is my entire offering to you. And so I want you now prayerfully consider, as we do every year, next slide. You all should have picked up a ministry commitment card for this year. Once again, this is between you and God. I encourage you to put your name on it for your own sake, but you don't have to. What we'd like you to do is I want you to take about 2 minutes to fill this out. And we're going to do something we haven't done in years. We're going to pass the plate. And I would like you to drop it in there, because what that does for our finance team, it gives them an idea of what we need to start looking for next year. We'll see how it matches up. So the options on this thing are my current financial contributions to the mission and ministry of St. Paul's is $100 a month. Let's say that's what it is. I will increase my giving by $11 a month. And you'll put it in. I'm unable to increase my giving this year. Or I'm going to put more. It doesn't. You all have to know this for yourself. So take 2 minutes and fill that out, and then we'll go ahead and pass the plate. About another 30 seconds, and we'll bring the plates forward. Okay. One more up here, Wayne. Or Antoine, one more right there. Ruthie. And folks, do not be a goldfish and forget what you wrote. No, Antoine, I'll take the plate at this point. Thank you. Let's go ahead and slide, please. Let us pray together. Blessed are you, O God, maker of all things. Through your goodness, you have blessed us with these gifts, ourselves, our time, and our possessions, signs of your gracious love. Use us and what we have gathered in feeding the world with your love through the one who gave himself for us, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Just one more thing. I don't like to single out people, but Ron Till, I will tell you, the property issues that we face in this building are vetted by Ron Till more than any person I've ever worked with in my entire life. And he finds solutions all the time to save us money. So Kim is in charge of property. Ron, I want to salute you. I know he's embarrassed, but I will tell you, if you ever see his car unplugged, plug it back in, because the extension cord only gets him so far with his electric car. So help a guy out, okay? But thank you, Kim and Ron. My problem is when he sends emails with his mechanical engineer brain, I don't know what the heck he's saying. So it's, all right, we're gonna move on to this budget. It is presented as a motion that we accept the 2026 proposed budget scenario number 2 for the mission and ministry of St. Paul's Lutheran Church. So is there any further discussion about scenario number 2 or the budget in general? Yes, Larry. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, very good. All right, I hear no discussion. We will now vote on the motion before us. All in favor of scenario 2, please. Yep, aye. Thank you. All opposed to scenario number 2? Thank you. We have 2 opposed. We have a majority to carry the scenario number 2 budget. So that motion is carried for scenario number 2. Thank you.
Next slide.
Okay.
Report of the-
All right, we're going to go through the voting here. The survey results. Where's my, I got to go back to my ballot, sorry.
Yeah, we don't read numbers. All we need to do is just tell these 4 have been elected to council.
Oh, okay, and the other one's already passed. Okay, so congratulations to Joanne, myself, Vanessa, and Kelly for our 2025-26 council members. So thank you, everybody, for volunteering. We have the other folks on there were also passed that were on the ballot for the other nominations that we had. Larry Kessler and the Erie Lutheran Conference team have a short announcement. So Larry, it's all you, my friend.
Yeah, give it to Marsha.
Thanks for supporting Kevin and I as we continue to represent St. Paul's at the Erie Lutheran Conference. You all completed a questionnaire that the conference put out several months ago. And I am very pleased and actually very proud to say that St. Paul's gave the most responses to the questionnaire from all the Lutheran churches in our conference. Over 30% of the respondents came from our own congregation. So thank you all very much for doing that.
Okay.
The survey results have been calculated, and we are going to meet as a conference at the end of this month, October, to review those results and come up with a roadmap, if you would, at how the congregations are going to support each other and work together, as Kevin reiterated in his comments earlier, so we can share ministries and help each other out and support each other. So we are going to have a forum on November 9th here, right after worship, to share with you all those decisions and recommendations that will be made by the conference that St. Paul's will be participating in. So be looking for that session as well. Can I answer any questions, or do you have any concerns about the conference? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
My understanding is they have really good snacks on that ride, so if anyone wants to join them, Kevin bakes a mean Rice Krispie treat. So, do we have any other old business that we want to cover today before we move on? Old business going once, twice, 3 times. All right, hearing nothing, I declare the business portion of this meeting is closed.
Well, now we have to ask for new and other business still.
Oh, new and other business. Do we really?
Yes, we do. That's part of how we do things.
Yes, Cindy.
I don't know if this is new
Wait. 43 is nothing to be embarrassed about. Well, listen,
Right.
Cindy, to your point, Cindy, it is, I help John, I've been a little committed lately with my new job, but John puts a schedule together, but I agree, we often find ourselves at council talking about the 80-20 rule, and I'll be right with you. We have 20% of the people that do 80% of the work. That's always the case. It doesn't matter where you go. At your job, it's like that. At church, it's like that. It's like that. Cindy's right, though. If you can, and I mean, if you can commit to one thing, maybe just one thing to help with, it would be a great addition to the people, the 20% that do everything. So think about that. I think Cindy is right. Maybe we can talk about another sign-up sheet or something in the Narthex, or things that need to be done. Because again, I agree. If you can do something, come by and do it. You know, our facility is very important, and the appearance of our facility is very important. So hang on, I'm going to go to Marie real fast.
Okay, so my biggest worry is stepping on toes, but like I've been walking by and seeing these and, baby, who do I check with before I do it? Okay, and at the same time, it's Sunday's ministry. So even if I just go, hey, I'm gonna pull this week, who do I talk to?
Well, maybe what we need to do is put the people that lead those committees out in the Narthex with their phone numbers. So that way, if you see something and you want to attend to it, just call that person quickly and say, hey, I would like to do some weeding today. Is that okay? And I will tell you, I respect that. My wife raises monarch butterflies every year. A couple of years ago, I mowed down all of the milkweed. And why are you laughing? I thought it was the perfectly good thing to do. So I agree with Marie, but we'll put a list together of all the people who are in charge of the committees and go from there. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, years ago, we used to have sign-up sheets for certain sections, like I did over by the gym door, and once a week you would come in and do it, or whatever you would convene. But so you're not overwhelmed, you just have one section to get to.
Yeah, no, I agree, and
Pass that on property.
yeah, we'll ask property to put up a sign-up sheet and things like that. But my thing is, you know, one of the problems with boards and things like that is people will engage 10 minutes before the board meeting. They'll read the notes, they'll go to the board meeting, check the box that they put in their hour, and then they don't engage until the next month. So if you're going to do something like this, please ask the people to stay in touch with them so that they know what's going on and you know what's going on, so we don't waste anyone's time. Because that's the other part of the problem is, you know, we have a bunch of volunteers show up and nobody has anything to do. Well, then you're not going to come back. So find something that you want to do, and we'll put a list of the committee people that are in charge of that. Like Kim is in charge of property, Cindy's in charge of food pantry. So, you know, things like that. So we'll put a list of contact names out there for you so you can get in touch with those people, okay? Yes, sir.
I think part of the problem is the congregation must think that the spring cleanup or the fall cleanup and that is for a club of 60 or older.
I'm not there yet.
We have to, you know, open it up to the entire congregation, not 60 and older.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's
And
move on.
my issue is you keep scheduling them on Saturdays when I have commitments, so it's, but we'll put a list out of the people that are in charge, and you can reach out to them directly, because the one thing that I can guarantee you beyond anything is every person who heads a committee in this church needs help, all right? So everybody on a committee will take your help. I guarantee they will want your support and your helping hand, so we'll put that list up. All right. Any other new business before we move on? All right, we passed the budget. Old business is done, new business is done, and we're back to him.
Dear Christian friends, baptized into the priesthood of Christ, we are all called to offer ourselves to the Lord of the church in thanksgiving for what he has done and continues to do for us. It is our privilege to recognize and support those who have been elected by the congregation to serve as our congregation council. I ask them to come forward at this time so that we may install them with our trust, joy, as they begin their part of our continued work together. Council members, please come up. All council members, new and old, who are serving. We face the cross on purpose. St. Paul writes, there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit gives them. There are different ways of serving, but the same Lord is served. There are different abilities to perform service, but the same God gives to everyone ability for a particular service. The Spirit's presence is shown in some way in each person for the good of all. You have been elected to positions of leadership and trust in His congregation. Therefore, I charge you. You are to see that the words and deeds of this household of faith reflect Him in whose name we gather. You are to work together with other members to see that the worship and work of Christ are done in this congregation, and that God's will is done in this community and in the whole world. You are to be examples of faith, active in love, to help maintain the life and harmony of this congregation. On behalf of your siblings in Christ here, I ask you, are you ready to accept and faithfully perform the duties of positions to which you have been elected? Council? Please turn and face your congregation. People of God, I ask you, will you support these, your elected leaders? And will you share in the mutual ministry that Christ has given to all who are baptized? We will. I now declare you installed as the Congregation Council of St. Paul's Lutheran Church of Erie. God bless you with the Holy Spirit, that you may prove faithful servants of Christ. Amen. Just read it.
All right. Thank you again, everyone, for attending today. We appreciate your support and your being here. Your time this morning is very much appreciated. It is presented as a motion, second by the Congregational Council, that we adjourn this annual congregation meeting of St. Paul's Lutheran Church.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I dare you. Go in peace, serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.